Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today I thought we'd take a look at my everyday shooting kit. Now I've made a couple of videos about this, and one of the points that I made was slimming down the stuff that I take out on location. What we're going to discover is what I've taken out on location this morning. And what I'm going to do is basically unpack the bag. Now the bag itself is an f-stop Guru, 25 litres. It's my favourite bag, and the reason is because it's small enough to be easy to lift and to carry for miles. So anything that doesn't require camping out, this is the bag that I tend to take. It's big enough to fit spare clothes in, so I can put all my camera gear, pockets on the side for tripods and water. I can fit a waterproof jacket, gloves, hat if I want one. It's a perfect size for everyday use. There's enough room in this bag for me to fit my camera, 3 lenses, all the various photography associated bits which we're going to have a look at in a minute. Plus, in this case today it's full of video gear, but often that can be, when I'm out shooting, that will be a waterproof jacket, gloves, hat, so on and so forth. Food, don't forget food, very important. Alright, let's have a look. We're going to take the tripod out. So there's a clip at the top which holds the tripod close to the bag, and then the 2 feet fit in the side pocket, and there's another strap here to keep that nice and tight so you don't lose it. This is a Feisol tripod, and I use Feisol for almost all of my tripods. Are Feisol. They're very, very light. They're tall. I'm 5'10" and a bit. These extend really high. I've got an Acratech leveling head on top of the tripod, and then there's the ball head here. Notice on this tripod there's no center column. Now, I've got a thing about center columns. I absolutely detest them. I haven't come across one yet that doesn't introduce at least some movement into the shot. So unless you're shooting on a very, very, very high shutter speed, tripods can really ruin your shot, ruin the clarity, sharpness in the shot. So directly on top of this head here, the base rather, the tripod base, I've got a leveling, Acratech leveling head, so this allows me to level the rest of the kit. There is a spirit level attached, so I can see that, and then on the top this is a panoramic head, and this rotates in 2 dimensions, so I can go this dimension, and I can loosen this up, and I can go round as well. So in the process of everyday photography, where I'm not necessarily doing panoramas, I can actually make any frame, any combination of this is as good as a conventional ball head, and is much more stable, I find. It's marked off so I can see the degrees of rotation, so if I am doing a panorama on this, I can literally call it off and get the rotation exactly consistent throughout the panorama. So a great head, fantastic kit. Okay, so let's have a look now at the stuff that we've got packed inside this. So there's a front pocket here. Okay, so what I've got in here is a DJI Osmo gimbal, and this is for the iPhone. So I can attach an iPhone to this, it stabilizes it. It's a great way of shooting videos for the channel. Fast, easy to use, and very, very stable. So into the next layer, I'll just unzip this. And what we've got here, batteries for the camera. Selfie stick, this is for basically, it's for the DJI Pocket, and I use this sometimes when I'm out to film myself talking. And one of the things about doing this channel, I can tell you now, is I absolutely hate filming myself talking when there are other people around. And the reason is because you've got your camera on a stick like this and you just look like a complete idiot. And there it is. But so that's the DJI Pocket selfie stick. Spare batteries. So never leave home without batteries. This is, I haven't been caught out by this for years, but if you ever are, you will kick yourself until you get home. Another spare battery. Extra cards for the camera, so more media in case a card fails or something like that. And I think that's pretty much it. There are other pockets here that you can fill with stuff, but in the interests, there's a key ring here. In the interests of keeping the weight down, I tend only to put what I really need into the top of the bag. And we've got, this is DJI sound kit with microphones, one of them I'm wearing at the moment. But that's great, 2 microphones and a little receiver that plugs into the camera. This is the DJI Pocket, and this is a fantastic little camera. Tiny, really portable, 4K resolution, absolutely perfect for the channel. The microphone and receiver, fluffy cables, mini tripod, which I have to say is pretty useless. And that's the DJI Pocket. So this is the camera that I use probably most often when I'm filming myself. So Kase Filters, these are the filters that I use. There's a polarizing filter in here that I use a great deal, and 2 neutral density filters. Okay, now we'll have a look at the camera kit. So this bag, like all of the f-stop bags, uses what they call an ICU, an internal camera unit, and it's a box that keeps your camera padded, keeps it separate from the rest of the contents, prevents the possibility of liquid falling over it and stuff like that, gives you an extra layer of protection. Okay, this is the lid of the actual ICU, so we peel that back like this, and here we've got the camera. So puffer to blow dust off the lens. So remote release for the camera. Today I was doing sort of detail shots. So this is a Canon 100mm macro lens. Beautiful lens, so it's really sharp and it's got image stabilization, so you can actually use this for macro handheld if you've got a reasonably steady hand. Okay, this is the Canon 70-200 lens, and the reason I take this is because the reason I take this lens with me is sometimes a macro gives you a really shallow depth of field, and you can, in some circumstances, so for instance, you know, a pile of pebbles on nicely textured rocks can be better taken with a normal lens. You don't need to get in that close if you want the whole thing to be in focus. So that gives me an alternative. And the camera itself. So I've got a 24-70 lens attached to the camera. I've got the L bracket, the 3-legged thing, L bracket, and what this is for quickly switching the orientation of the camera when it's on the tripod. And that is pretty much it. No, it's not. I've got here a lens pen. These are very popular, but what you have here is like a little wiper. I never use this if I can possibly help it. The reason is because, yes, the first time you use it, it'll remove grease and so on from the lens, and that grease will soak into the pad, and thereafter you will simply be smearing grease around on the surface of every lens you touch. So I don't think these are particularly useful, but where they are useful is this. So any piece of dirt that won't come off with the puffer, I can loosen with the bristle brush and get it off that way. So it's worth having one of these, just don't use the greasy tip. Okay, so finally we've got another pack of spare cards. You can never have too many spare cards. I've known a card die in the middle of a shoot, and basically you've lost everything, but at least you can carry on working if you bring spare cards with you. And I've got a couple of lens cloths here that I use to take anything that is resistant to the brush. And I always keep a couple of little bags of desiccant. This is silica gel in the camera bag because it absorbs any moisture that's in the atmosphere. So you don't want moisture getting anywhere near your camera, and that's, perhaps it's superstitious nonsense, perhaps it works, I don't know, but I feel happier if I've got the desiccant. So a couple of things to mention about this. Obviously you can arrange these dividers any way you like, but there's a couple of things that are probably worth mentioning. One is that this includes elasticated straps. If you're traveling, it's a good idea to use these elasticated straps to really just lock your lenses in place so they don't rattle around inside the thing. They're pretty well protected. These are very well cushioned dividers. The other thing to bear in mind if you're traveling is these are designed in such a way, or I've configured this in such a way, that in normal use the weight of the camera is on this part and this part, and never on the lens down here. The reason for that is the most vulnerable part of the camera lens combination is the bit where the lens clips onto the camera, and you don't want to damage that. So when I'm traveling, I always detach the lens completely, put the protective cap back on the camera, so I have my camera body separated from the lens when I'm traveling, and it's just to protect that joined up bit. So that's it, that's my kit. That's the kit I normally take. I never take more than 3 lenses. I generally these days try to keep it down to 2 lenses because I'm getting older and more feeble as the years roll on by. And I find this size of bag, 25 litres, is more than adequate for daily use. This particular bag, very well engineered. Yep, it's got a belt so you can take the weight on your hips rather than your shoulders. The belt's got little pockets in it as well, so you might want to keep your camera cards in there. And the rest of it, yeah, it was very well engineered, very tough indeed. As I say, had this for two and a half years, something like that. It's been used probably 3-4 times a week on average. So that is several hundred uses. I've got a Peak Design clip that I have on the left-hand shoulder strap, and the camera, basically with the lens on it, just clips into this. So when I'm actually walking, I don't have to take the bag off in order to access the camera. I can just unclip it from this clip, and there it is. And I find, shouldn't be a great surprise, but I find I take a great deal more photographs when I'm using this clip, because taking a bag off and digging around in the inside's a bit of a pain in the neck, and you're halfway up a mountain, you don't really fancy doing it. Okay, so that's my everyday kit bag and the kit that I've been using today. If you've got a moment, nip down below the video and give us a subscribe or a like, and any questions about any of this kit, you'll find most of it is listed below the video, so you can go and have a look at that in detail if you want. But any questions about how practical any of this stuff is, or any technical questions, fire away down below the video. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week. Right, homeward bound.